99% of hockey players would be better off being on a lower team. And I know that might sound controversial, but let me explain. I remember I got cut from AAA when I was 14, and I was absolutely devastated. I've been on the team for 5 years, and I genuinely thought my hockey career was over. But instead, getting cut actually ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me in my hockey career. When I dropped down to AA, I got tons of ice time, I got to be the team captain, and most importantly, I really fell in love with hockey again and remembered why I loved playing in the first place. And I really mean it when I say this, it was the most fun year of hockey I've ever had to date. So you see, being on the best team isn't always best for your hockey career. Sometimes being on the top team is toxic, sometimes you barely play, and sometimes the pressure of coaches, parents, teammates absolutely crush a player's love for the game. So what's crazy is when I dropped down, I thought I would get worse, but I actually got better faster. Most people think that development happens on the best teams, but that's completely wrong. The best development happens where you learn the most, and that might be on a lower level AAA team, it might be a different league or a different level. Wherever it is, it's about looking for the best place to learn so that you can develop faster. Because if at the end of the day, playing on the best team makes you hate hockey, then what's the point of playing on that best team? So that's why in this video, I'm going to break down the 4 most important aspects to consider when picking what team to try out for and what team to sign with this year and for the rest of your career. Because if you want to move up in hockey in the long term, it's not just about chasing the highest team every single year. It's about exposing yourself to the right learning environment, the right roles, and developing the right mental and physical skills so that you can succeed long term in the game. And if you're new here and you're wondering why you might want to listen to me, I played hockey for 20 years all the way up to the NCAA level. I've been through the same challenges that so many players face every single year. I've since coached hundreds of players through these challenges and helped them navigate moving up from minor hockey to junior to Division 1 or Division 3, moving up to pro, higher levels of pro, and really help players to understand how to navigate it both mentally and from a development standpoint. And I've had thousands of conversations with scouts, coaches, parents, players at pretty much every single level. That includes the NHL, and that's given me a behind the scenes look at how development really works. So when I say this stuff, it's not just me making stuff up, it's me talking about actual conversations, actual experiences I've had, players I've had, or what coaches, scouts, or parents have said about dealing with these things. So let's start with principle number 1. Ice time is development currency. At the end of the day, you don't get better by sitting on the bench. You develop by actually playing hockey. And so one of the biggest challenges players face is when they're picking a team to play on, they need to think about what is my actual likelihood of getting ice time. And ice time is directly tied to your coach's trust in you. And if your coach trusts you and puts you on the ice, regardless if you make mistakes, if you have a bad shift or a bad game, what that means is that you can go out and continue to develop as a player. You can try things, you can screw up, and know that your coach is going to back you and still give you opportunities. But if you're going to a team and that coach doesn't really understand who you are as a player, and you're going in just hoping that they're going to throw you in the lineup at a younger age, especially in minor hockey, the mistake that players and parents make is they think, I'm going to treat this kind of like pro hockey. I'm going to try to earn my spot. But a lot of times you need the space to be able to try to develop at a younger age. What I see for so many players is that they look at the older age groups and they see players who were really good at young ages and they think, I'm going to be just like that. But if you're not a dominant AAA player, sometimes you need to look and say, what team is going to allow me to get the chance to actually expose myself to mistakes like those top guys get a chance to do? The best players get to go out, try things, screw up, do the wrong stuff sometimes, and they still get to be put back out. They still have that trust from their coaches. If you don't have that trust, you're going to be in this place of your coach is going to sit you a lot. You're going to get put on that kind of third line, which often gets treated like a fourth line on most teams in minor hockey. And so what a player needs to be thinking about is picking a team, not that's going to be easy, not that's so low that you're going to be the best player no matter what, but going to a team where you know that coach is actually going to give you opportunities to make mistakes, to not be perfect every game. If you pick a team where the coach is very cutthroat and you get moved down the lineup if you do one wrong thing or cost your team one goal, well, that's probably not best for development. And I've coached several dozen players who went through this exact decision. And what I think that most players make the mistake of is they don't actually have a conversation with other players and parents from that team. And so they don't have a full picture of what that coach is like. Now, sometimes you haven't really heard about this coach because this is the first time they're coaching, makes it tough. I don't know how to solve that problem if I'm being 100% honest, but what I will tell you is that if you have a conversation with them and they seem like the type of person who's open to players learning and growing, that's a big deal. So really asking a coach, hey, do you want to focus on winning this year, and not trying to maneuver it to say, show your hand and say, well, I'm actually looking for a coach who's going to help me develop or help my son or daughter develop. But you got to say, like, are you going to focus on winning this year? If they say, yeah, winning's everything for me, it's probably not the best place to go. So that's what I would keep in mind there for that first piece, is the importance of ice time, the importance of being able to make mistakes and still get ice time, because that's what allows you to actually develop in games, which is what players need, especially at younger ages. The second piece is role clarity. It's really understanding what you're developing towards as a player and asking yourself, is this team going to help me get there? As I said before, playing down doesn't mean development stops. Sometimes playing down means your role shifts and you get to be a bigger role player on that team. So maybe when you're at the top teams, you have to be a PK guy, a shutdown player, and keep it very simple and safe. But if you play down, you might actually get a chance to, maybe for a season or two, get a chance to actually develop into other roles, understand how to be somebody who goes on the last minute and goes and tries to score, who is able to hold the puck down and play in the last minute when you're down a goal or up a goal. Having the ability to be trusted on power play situations, PK maybe for you, whatever it is, it's getting more opportunities. It's getting a chance to expand your identity and what you think you're capable of. And if you start to build that trust a little bit earlier in your career, now when you do go to the top team again, you might have a newfound understanding that you can do this. You just need to figure out how to do it at this next level, which is totally fine. So the key is understanding points are going to matter no matter what. Again, if you're in junior, it's going to be much more cutthroat, but in minor hockey, it's important to realize that you still want to win every game, but the nuance here is that sometimes when you're on a top team, you don't really get to contribute a lot to winning, and that's what's really frustrating. But when you can drop down a level, you get a chance to actually be the person who sees, ooh, I get to try to help us really win, to really help us score, be more offensive typically, which is a great opportunity. And again, the driver for hockey success does need to be fun to some extent. Like, you have to want to do it, because if you want to do it and hockey is fun, then training is easy. Showing up to the rink every single day, doing multiple workouts a day becomes easier and easier as time goes on. But if you never really get exposed to that love, it's very hard to push yourself and want to do it. And so a good question to ask when you're picking what team to go to is, what team do I think I can actually make an impact on, either at the beginning of the season or by the end of the season? The other piece you can ask is, what role do I need to develop? So if you're currently on a team right now where you have to be the offensive production person, ask yourself, have I developed that defensive side of the game? Do I know how to play safer, smarter hockey? Maybe you do need to move up levels and play against better competition and understand how to bring that element to your game. You want to use this idea of your identity expanding and looking at these archetypes as, can I play all these archetypes, or am I limited and I can only play some? When you move up to junior, to college, or to pro, at some point in your development, you're going to need to be able to play different styles. And if you can't do that effectively, it's going to hold you back at a certain point. And I see so many players deal with this when they go from junior to college. They have a hard time being a lower level guy on the team. They haven't really mastered that skill of being able to play any different role. They don't understand how to see their identity as this flexible thing. It's very key to understand that. So that's what I would think about when it comes to number 2, role clarity. And by the way, if you're trying to figure out your role, how to maximize it, how to pick which team to go to, how to develop within the team you're currently on, I put together a free resource called the 3-Pillar System. It'll help you identify your top 3 strengths, the role that fits you best right now, and exactly how to start training more effectively for it. If you want it, the link's in the description below. You can check it out and hopefully it helps you out. Now on to number 3. Logistics and lifestyle matter more than you think. One thing most players overlook when they're picking which team to go to is logistics. And essentially what I mean by logistics is, where is the team? How far away is it? What is your lifestyle going to have to be like in order to play on that team? Do you have to drive 2 hours each way in really heavy traffic just to get there every day? How many practices are you going to have to go to for that? How does that affect school? How does it affect sleep and recovery? How does it affect your family life and actually having friends outside of the sport? For example, you could have a player who goes to a better team. It's 2 hours away. Now they train for multiple hours less every single day. Probably don't get to sleep as much, especially if the practices are later. So sleep is impacted. So growth can be impacted and all these different things. Schoolwork can get limited, so you don't get to do well in school, which can impact your ability to play Division I. And a lot of times we don't think about this because we think, let's just go to the best team we can. But sometimes you need to prioritize, what is my lifestyle actually going to look like? And yes, you should be willing to travel a little bit if it's the best opportunity for you. But if it's very similar and you have a team that's a little bit closer and it's going to save you hundreds of hours over the course of the season, it's a genuine thing to think about. My honest recommendation is, if you're within about 45 minutes of a team, that's probably a good idea generally speaking. But once you start getting out of that, there needs to be a major benefit that you get from it. And I don't think it's worth it if you're basically going to the same type of team with a similar type of coach and set of players, and you expect to get a similar amount of ice time. You're probably going to want to use those extra hours to do an extra workout, to sleep a little bit extra, to do homework. And even if it means just having friends that you get to spend time with, that can also be something that matters, especially at a younger age. And I get it, hockey's becoming more professional, but if you want to become a complete, well-rounded human being, actually having a little bit of time where you're not traveling constantly is important. You don't just want to become an adult at 12, 13, 14 years old. Yes, I think when you're about 14, 15, 16, you should should be treating it like a professional if you want to be a professional, but you have to be conscious that players need to be smarter, especially at that kind of 12, 13, 14 age of slowly becoming more professional about it. I'm not saying serious, you want to be serious about it, but the level of professionality is important to ramp up and not just go 100%. That's my belief. Now, people can disagree. You can say that's totally wrong. I get it. We just don't agree on it. That's fine. Now, the fourth piece is the bigger picture of your hockey career. It's not about this year. It's about your hockey trajectory that really matters. So remember what I said. When I dropped down to AA, it was a major shift for me because I got more ice time. I got to be a leader. I got to have more good pressure on me. And I had an opportunity to really see and expand who I am as a player and just as a person in general. When you're on a team where there's a lot of politics and you're getting pushed down and not really getting a lot of opportunities to succeed, it really demoralizes you. It can make you really dislike playing. It can lead you to not want to train as hard. It can make you not really want to show up to the rink, and it can create a negative association with a sport that you could fall in love with if you just had a season or two where you actually got to enjoy it and push yourself and maybe even win. And so a key question you want to be asking yourself is not just, is this team the best for me right now, but is this team and the situation the best for me in the long term? How is it going to impact where I go in the long run? Maybe this is the right team for you this year in terms of maybe you might win some games or you might look a little bit better to your friends, but is it actually going to make you a better player? Or are you going to travel for 4 extra hours a day? You are constantly tired, or maybe you get injured because you didn't sleep enough and your body was breaking down. And now you have this thing that's going to impact you for the rest of your career. So just really consider not just this season, but what is it going to look like in 2-3 years from now? How is this going to impact where you go? So I hope all that helps. And whether you're playing AAA, AA, you're in junior hockey right now, your future doesn't come down to, am I on the highest team right now? It comes down to, are you learning and developing the best you possibly can for now and the future? And that's not just physically, it's also mentally and who you're becoming as a leader and as a person in how you train, prepare, and develop off the ice. If you're a player or a parent and you want to actually see what I teach when it comes to how to develop and how to make the most out of every single year from a skill development perspective and how to approach your training, from a mental perspective of how to develop all of the mental tools and reprogram your mind to be confident, to believe in yourself, and to show up calm and relaxed to every game and practice, and you want to learn the exact system I've taught my pro, D1, and high-level junior guys, that's helped them build unshakable confidence and really unlock their potential and help them navigate the different transitions through their game, whether it was moving up levels or dealing with going down levels, then you're going to want to apply to work with us. And you may want to just learn about what it looks like to work with us. And if you do, you can check out the link below, learn more about how it actually works. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment them below, or you can put them in an application on that page. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.